Hi there. Today I'm doing something special. This is not a real episode. This is just something, well, you technically shouldn't have to show, which is how to properly pack a Mac or CRT screen for shipping. Many times you see it on the internet that somebody orders a Mac or a CRT monitor, it gets shipped and it arrives completely destroyed. And what I'll do today is I will prepare this Mac Classic for shipping because I sold it. It has some damages that are beyond my repair skills. That's why I'm cutting it loose, and I will pack it as good as I can. It might be a bit overkill, but nonetheless I want to show it to you. Let's go. Now the first part I wanted to show you is that I've covered the inside with some newspaper. Why? It doesn't really protect anything, but it reduces the ability for parts to move inside there should they become loose. Everything is fixed, but nonetheless you want to protect that CRT screen, because if something gets loose, there is movement in shipment and transit, and it might harm the CRT real bad. So a little bit of newspaper it cannot harm, which is why I put it inside the Mac. Close it down again. Important note, of course, this can't be done with certain CRT monitors that can't be opened like that, but with a Mac you can just easily do that. Now, since I put some paper inside, I also want to let the buyer know that there is paper inside, so he doesn't plug it in and turn on and the thing will catch fire, which is why I covered the power on-off switch and the front, so it's clear, and I'll also leave a note inside the package. Now I've covered the Mac with a very thin layer of plastic. This is a bubble wrap technically, but if the small one breaks, yeah, there is not that much buffer space that comes out of it. It's more just so that the Mac itself is protected by some sort of plastic to protect it from debris or moisture. And what I'll use to protect the CRT screen are these paper cushions. I don't know if you ever came across them, but they're quite handy. You could also use the foam that is sometimes in packaging material. It needs to be something soft that can be compressed, but it's solid. You shouldn't use styrofoam because it's hard. Styrofoam could actually push inside the CRT and harm it real bad. So with this type of paper cushion, it's really nothing else. You can easily protect it, and I will cover as much of the Mac as I can with it and just fix it with some duct tape. Now let's get to the actual packing part. I have here a cardboard box which is about double the size I need. I always do it like that, don't worry, it will get smaller throughout the process. As you see, it's an empty cardboard box. There is really nothing fancy about that. It's a thicker cardboard though, so it's a bit better protected. And I'm going to close it completely. Like that. Now for the next part, I've put tape once around the box to mark the middle, and I will cut the box in half, and I will let you know in just a second why. There we go. Now we have two parts. And what we have now basically is we have a bottom part and a top part, which I will later put over the lower part as a cover, as a lid, in order to protect it better. Now, in order for this to work, I need to make the bottom part a bit smaller so that the upper part can go above it actually, which is why I will cut out the corners so they can be pushed in a little bit, not all the way down, but just top 10 centimeters. This will help me a lot in the process. Next, I will cover the whole bottom with newspaper. Now, I'm always using newspaper instead of these bubble plastics, because Macs and CRTs are quite heavy, and the bubble plastics can actually break and release their air, and then they have no protection at all, basically. Now the next part is putting the Mac in, and I will put it in sideways, just like that, and then cover it all around with as much newspaper as I can get in. This will take a while, and this is important because this will serve you as the buffer to actually save the CRT and the Mac. Alright, now that part is almost done. I've done almost to the top, not completely to the top, and I will let you know why. Because I will take the top, I just will put some newspaper as well. Alright, and now we'll put this top on as a lid. Now this is a bit tricky because these parts might fall out, so you can fix it with a bit of tape. Just make sure the tape is loose so it can still move and compress a bit, but that way it doesn't fall out when I turn the lid. Alright, and now push the corners in. That's why I've cut the corners. And I'll try to squeeze it over. 2 corners down. Now this is a really tricky part because they have exactly the same size. So yeah, it might need a bit till you actually get them in, but this will protect the Mac really, really well. And it's done. Now what will happen eventually, like you see here, is that the corners will break, but this you can fix with a bit of duct tape easily. Perfect. And this I'm gonna fix now with tape. There's no need that it needs to be perfect just right now, because now I'm doing something which might seem a bit strange. I will cut the other side open. And I will cut it open just like the lids of the box. Opens up, because then you can push the newspaper from the other side and actually get more compression into all the different sides and make sure that the Mac is protected really, really well. Okay, and once more I will cover this side with newspaper. At this stage, I will add something which I promised to send along. It's in that envelope. Just include here, and then I'll cover it for the final time. Done. As you see, it's important to note that this is not a beauty contest. You want to pack it as good as possible. And now, try to close it again. It will be a bit tough because it's really stuffed. Okay, now The real reason why I went through the whole process with creating the lid for bottom and the top part is because now I will cover the whole parcel with tape, just like a wrapping plastic at the airport. And what will happen is these two sides will be pushed together even more, and that creates a more denser surrounding for the Mac inside there and protects it even better. Before I do that, I will cover this side with an additional layer of cardboard because I've had the lid cut out here and I want to just add some more cardboard to protect it. Now I needed a bigger space because now I'm going to wrap the whole thing with tape. This will probably take up the whole roll of tape, but again, in the end, the parcel will be really well protected. Okay, as you can probably tell, I'm sweating because layering this in the duct tape is really tough and takes a long time and a lot of energy to turn it constantly. But I just feel it's important to protect vintage Macs. That's what our community is about. And when you do not behave responsible as a seller, then what's the point in doing all this? Our goal is to protect and preserve these machines. This is complete overkill. But I think you might at least use some of those packing tricks and hacks to pack your Macs better. It's not a beauty contest, as you see. The box breaks, you wrap it again. It's really about protecting as good as possible, and this parcel now is airtight. I think there is not an inch of air left, and I think this will arrive safely. This way I already shipped a 20 kilogram radius pivot display. As a whole, it arrived just fine, and yeah, so this method works. I have tested it. Hope this helped. As I told you in the beginning, it's kind of an obvious thing, but I think it's important to remind people sometimes to pack their Macs better. Take care and have a great day.